and shadows in the darkest maze. Footsteps echo in the empty hall. Mysteries waiting on our call. Bigfoot stomping through the pines. Aliens sending secret signs. EVPs in the dead of night. Ghosts dancing in the pale moonlight. Paranormal for what we bring it to you. Truth behind the veil, gotta pursue you.
All right.
All right, everybody. How you doing?
We are live here in Alabama.
Yes. We're sitting here ready to party.
Party hardy.
Yeah.
We're at the Vanished Paracon and Premiere.
So, I tell you, it's cold, but we're not at home where it's got half a foot of snow.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, yes.
Happy snowy Saturday. Yep.
Yep. It's not snowing here. It's flurrying outside, but it is not snowing here, so that's the good thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we got a lot of good people here.
Yes.
Trey Hudson's on stage right now speaking.
Yeah, talking about the metal project.
Oh, yeah.
We do need to get him on the show at some time.
Yeah.
At some point. You know, the guests, as they come off the stage, are supposed to come over, and they'll start talking to the podcasters. So, you know, here in a little bit, we'll be able to have a little conversation with him. He'll be sitting at the in the hot seat over there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we need to get a seat that says hot seat on it.
Mm-hmm. Make it red.
Yes. Absolutely. Oh, man. So, we're glad to be here. I'll tell you what, there was some new stuff that we done about this, with this setup and everything that took us a minute, didn't it?
Yeah, it took us just a couple of more minutes,
Yeah.
but
It wasn't bad.
we got it.
Yeah, it's looking good. You can kind of see beside Jason there, the banner. You can see my wife behind me playing on her phone. Hi. Hey, honey. Don't move. You give them something to actually look at. You're still in the. It doesn't matter where you're going to sit.
So let me show you the hot seat.
Here's the hot seat.
Boom.
Oh, man. Look
There's
at that.
the hot seat.
There's the hot mic and the hot headphones. All kinds of hot stuff there.
Yeah, baby girl, send us some pictures of the snow. I bet it's really bad over there where you're at.
Yeah, up there in the mountains. I guarantee it.
It's a sunny 20 degrees here in Gardendale, Alabama.
Yes.
Coming to you live from the Vanished Paracon and movie premiere.
I'm telling you, this movie premiere, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. Greg Ogles has some awesome movies that he does. We'll also, you know, by the end of this, let you know where you can, purchase the movie.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Stuff. So.
She's hidden by your head.
She's hidden by my head, but she's beside Jason. I mean, right there beside Jason.
Nope, there she is.
She never changed. Don't matter where you sit.
Oh,
You can't
okay.
move. You can't move her. You're good.
I don't want to be in it.
Why?
Of course
Tori ain't watching our show. Tori ain't watching our show. But I hope everybody is having a good, safe day. Right, Jason?
Oh, yeah.
Party on. This is going to be a a little bit of a long day. We're going to be here till 5. 5 o'clock's when we're going to cut out because that's when the premiere comes on. Ooh, look at this. Ooh, you can see it moving.
Yeah, we need a camera over there. So that's that one we seen yesterday, wasn't it, from somebody?
No.
What
The
he's
one we
doing
saw-
now, he's showing a video of something he caught.
Yeah, at the meadow. During their meadow project thing. What we saw was Jerry's stuff from his property. So, you know, I don't know if you could hear through our microphones because we didn't know that this system here didn't have a noise gate on it like our other one does. But you could probably hear them talking. So, yep, you can. You can hear it
Oh
well.
yeah, you can.
It's funny.
Look to the right, in the same line as fall to the right.
Be left.
Negative, it was out in the meadow itself.
Very interesting. If you're not and you're able to come, I would definitely say show up, especially if you're already in the area.
Oh yeah.
There goes Greg. Welcome back over there.
There's two.
Mm-hmm.
I wished we had a camera on that.
That's pretty interesting.
Remember our two visitors?
No, no. What is that?
May we enter the portals?
Once.
We did once, yes. Are the portals a manifestation of plasma energy and electromagnetic fields?
Leave.
I am going to list.
Go.
No, we're not going. I'm going to list some phenomenologies that precede the portals. Electromagnetic fields.
Stop it.
Electromagnetic fields. Radiation. Microgravity.
Power. Yes.
If you notice when we started asking about specific phenomenologies, electromagnetic fields, plasma energy, things like that, it became agitated. So by a show of hands, how many people think we were in contact with something? I mean, I think we were too. I think the odds of that being a fluke are pretty remote. So in 2020, we went back to the meadow. Kristen, Peyton, and I decided to go back during the day and record some baselines. You know, that's always important to do when you research record baselines, so you know what the baseline is for the environment, so you know when anything's out of that's extreme. So we were recording electromagnetic field radiation, things like that. To the north of the meadow, there's a large creek, and we decided we were going to cross it and see what was on the other side. So I cross the creek and I come out on the other side and I see a large field. And I yelled at Kristen, we'd kind of gotten separated by vegetation. I said, hey, this is really cool. There's another big field there. And she goes, what are you talking about? I said, we can do concurrent research. You know, one team on one side, one team on the other. She goes, wait where you are. I'm coming over to you. She came back over to me and she goes, Trey, you're right where you went into the water. You're right where you crossed the creek. You never made it to the other side. I'm like, no, you're mistaken. Look at this. This is brand new. And she said, Trey, this is the meadow. It always has been. I'm a former Army intelligence officer. I'm an Eagle Scout. I've hunted big game in North America and Africa. I backpacked all over North America. I'm pretty doggone comfortable in the woods. Some of you all spent time with me out in the woods. I'm not a neophyte. I did not know where I was. And the strange thing is, when we went back and looked at our logging tapes on our Geiger counter, we had a spike of 0.33 microsievert per hour at that exact time. That's over the baseline of 0.06 microsievert per hour. So the question is, if I hadn't had a teammate with me following our protocol about never having people go out alone, would that have been another chapter in one of David Paulides' missing 401 years? Very interesting. You think that there might be a correlation between these radiation spikes and extreme disorientation. Later on, that night, we decided to do a CE5 protocol. If you all are familiar with that, that's using the UFO world to project intent into the universe to see if something will manifest. Nothing happened. But the next morning, one of my team members, Tony, engineer, graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy, veteran of special operations, very solid dude, came up to me and said, Trey, I woke up about 4:30 this morning and had this word etched into my mind, Knox Magnet. Does that mean anything to you? I said, no. He said, it didn't happen again at 6:30, Knox Magnet. I said, I don't know, Tony, but I'll look into it. It turns out that the word Knox is the Roman word they're named the night goddess of the night. Magby was a little bit more difficult. That comes from Old English, specifically from the point Beowulf. Magby or Magba means children. So you put children and the night goddess together, you have children of the night goddess, right? So remember, we were doing CE5. So what are small, like children, with really big heads that come and visit you at night? The grays. The meadow is starting to show us that what you expect is not always going to be the way it manifests. It's going to start throwing you these weird curveballs. We did have CP5 content, albeit not in the way that we expected. In 2021, we were Kristen and I were researching an area probably about 4 miles from the meadow called Stevens Lake. And we captured some pretty unique UFOs during that. I'll go ahead and run this for you. This was filmed using a Psionics night vision camera. You notice there's a series of blinking lights right here and right here. Initially, I thought they were radio towers. I'm like, how did I miss this? I've never noticed these radio towers before. I had a set of 10x binoculars and I brought them up to the two objects. Both of them were a set of parallel lights blinking in unison, on and off, on and off. You can see how the camera enhances that. Drifting very slowly below the horizon. Now the thing is when you have an aircraft approaching, it starts below the horizon. It doesn't start up at the horizon and go down. I went back, I put on my newfound field investigator's hat. I tried to determine, were these aircraft or the airport nearby. I never determined exactly what these two objects were. They always stayed equal distance from one another, blinking that same pattern. Okay, 2022. Anybody ever heard of Greg Ogles, Relic Films? That's kind of what we're here for. Yeah, Greg came out and was doing some filming at the Meadow Project. If you remember the cryptic expeditions, Land Between the Lakes, the first probably third of that is the Meadow Project. Greg thought he wanted to do a thing with the Estes session. He said, I'd like to try that. So we did, and during the session, it didn't go quite as we expected. He had some really weird imagery, and he had his cinematographer and production assistant reach back out to him and said they were seeing shadow figures with their eyes around him while he was doing the Estes session. This is what he said. So I've been able to speak with the others about what they saw. It was reported that during the Estes event, progress, a shadow, nearly invisible being would hover around me. It would appear to try to intervene and come back out. This happened several times and eventually went in, or either didn't come out or vanished. All I remember is images of destruction, these weird images of dead babies covered in blood. The shadow being was reportedly somewhat humanoid with a partial body and the head that was said to resemble a person wearing a hood. It seems that it does correlate with what others have seen when they describe shadow people. The cool thing is, we were filming this. We captured it. Now, it's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to kind of show you where to look and prime you before it actually happens.
Are you telling us about our...
In a box?
Now, right between our shoulders there.
We did see a box in the
You might not be
middle,
able to see it in this light.
and it picked up on heat signature. Yes, it did put on heat.
But you'll see a stump and a shadow pass
Were you
between our
responsible for
backs
this?
and the stump.
Something that
Stop, just stop.
you did this last time.
Right there.
You wanted us to stop.
Y'all see
Why
the
did you want
shadow?
us to stop?
Behind us. Nothing passed between the studio lights and us. No shadow was cast on us. There was nothing behind us. And that corresponds directly with what the witnesses saw with their own eyes. So that's an actual capture of a shadow person back at base camp at the Meadow. In 2023, we had a pretty miserable weekend. You remember Bob's very first UFO sighting, right? Well, we had another one, almost exactly the same. And I'm going to let the witness describe it to you. This video report done by the witness was done probably like 5 minutes after the saw it. So I'll let them speak for themselves. Okay, kind of, you tell me everything you just said.
Okay, so we were sitting here listening to the radio.
What time?
It's 5:15 Central Time.
Okay.
5:05 Central Time.
Okay, 17:05, okay.
And it's been raining all day long, and I said, well, the sun's coming up, or the sun's starting to peek through over there, and then it hit me. I said, well, that's the wrong direction. Yeah, we double checked the compass, and it's pointing in the easterly direction.
Okay, and I just checked with my compass, it's 105 degrees, okay, magnetic.
And it was just above the ridge, and it looked like the sun behind the clouds. It was a diffused light, not a bright flashlight like a flashlight or something pointing at you. It was a diffused light, just like the sun setting. And then it moved from right to left, it moved over a few degrees, and then it got out of my line of sight, moved past some thicker trees, but then it got into X.
Right, and what color was it?
It was like a whitish. Yeah, it wasn't really. Maybe just a slight tint of orange.
Right.
When I first seen it, but then it was more white. Yeah, it's
Here.
that was his next thing. That's the moon horizon.
They're okay now, it's clearing up.
Yeah. So I don't know what it was.
Which is interesting because Bob saw the exact same thing here in 2016
Over that.
over that ridge. Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I appreciate it. My battery is getting ready to go dead here. So, anything you want to add?
I'm gonna keep our eyes peeled and see what else we see here.
Cool. Thanks. And that was at base camp. Once again, y'all might recognize that guy. That's David Pardue that does a lot of our Bigfoot investigations up in Uwharrie. So that was 2023. 2024, we had something really, really cool. We decided to do a film, a feature-length movie called The Meadow Project. We had the film team out there with us from Dark Holler Studios. And one of the things that we captured, or I captured on my thermals, was a creature slinking through the area exactly where the box had been. Now remember, we had a full film about there. So the odds of an animal approaching us closely are pretty remote. There are a lot of people there. Now, if you've ever read Hunt for the Skinwalker, the book by Keller and Knapp, they talk about some of the NIDS team members seeing a portal open and a creature slink out of it, crawl out of it. So I'm going to show you the video that I captured in 2023. I want you to notice the size of the trees in front of it and behind it. Get an idea of the size of the thing. Yeah. The signature's kind of broke up right now. Yeah, it's moving. That looks like it's a pretty good size, whatever it is. So, we were never able to really determine exactly what that was, but that was in the exact same area where the boxer cube that appeared back in 2017. Also during this trip, we were able to video some work we've been doing with something called a core inner God helmet. Okay, the God helmet is a device that uses electromagnetic field to stimulate certain portions of your brain that have been correlated with religious, mystical, or paranormal experiences. Now, ASOC, my group, Anomalous Studies and Observation, actually has a field portable God helmet that's completely independent of power. We can run it anywhere. So we decided we were going to run it There at the meadow, Sean was our test subject at that time. And then I was able to get some of the still images from that and send it over to Stephen Leah. You may have seen him with Hidden Worlds quantum imagery on Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch and also Blind Frog Ranch. He's the one that does the quantum analysis of some of their imagery. So he wanted to work with us on this. Now I'm going to show you a documentary we made. It goes over some of the stuff that Sean experienced, and then Stephen, not knowing anything about the whole process, was able to pull up independently, and the correlations are quite amazing. Stimulate the part of the brain that's responsible for religious or significant spiritual experiences or phenomena. This particular piece of equipment will initially, for the first 20 minutes, stimulate both hemispheres of the brain at 40 hertz frequency. That's electromagnetic in nature. Try to force and reinforce a cooperation between both hemispheres of the brain. The second 20 minutes is focus on the left amygdala, and that's the part of the brain that is responsible for religious experiences or spiritual awareness. And we had some experiences like that. If we stimulate the left amygdala of the subject while we were out in the medical research, what will happen, not only will that individual be kind of primed to have unique experience with high stream, but will also find the pump for the rest of the human experience high stream. So what I'm going to do is kind of walk everybody through it. Our subject set up here is go ahead and launch the program. It's self-running. Runs by itself for 40 minutes.
I did it once before we were out here at the meadow, and it was very anticlimactic. I had a nice warm feeling on the side of my face, kind of like you were sitting somewhere and the sun was shining on your face, and I kind of started falling asleep twice. It was a very comfortable, relaxing experience. I really didn't have anything happen.
Start with 40 hertz signal on both sides of the brain, and after 20 minutes,
This time was entirely different. It started out with that warm feeling, and very quickly it went from I'm just sitting in a chair strapped up to this rig to I started feeling like there was 4 people. I just sensed there was 4 entities, people, I don't know what around me, and just kind of encircling. I was trying to set the intent of Hey Grumpy, which was Bob's nickname, throw me a bone, help me out, what's going on, who is this, what's happening here? And very quickly I started getting an image of I'm standing in a room, we're sitting in a room where I'm laying on a table, and it's like beings were
started seeing the visual of eyes. Like I'm being looked at. Some were human, but they were very oddly shaped for human. It went from like your biologically standard human eyes, and then it was starting to morph more into what people consider that almond shape that was slightly twisted. I started seeing like the Punisher logo skull, where the lines of the teeth come down and shrank up, and for a brief second it would turn into a human skull, and then instantly morph into what I would consider an alien skull with gray, and then that even changed. Very quickly from that, it turned into, I just started seeing faces that was reminiscent of a human face, but not quite like something was off. And then it would start to like kind of melt, and then it would morph into a totally different shape. I mean, it had eyes, it had a mouth, but it wasn't your stereotypical defined, this is a human, this is a chimpanzee, this is a dog, like how you could identify it. I remember seeing a pentagon, cubes, macabre, which ties into sacred geometry, it's like a three-dimensional shape. And then I got this image in the sense of a tesseract. And we've heard that term before in movies. It's a shadow of a four-dimensional object in a two or three-dimensional space. So it's a cube within a cube with all the corners connected, which ties into some very esoteric, sacred geometry type stuff. And it was odd to me that that's what came out. Am I, with my knowledge, my preconception, am I contaminating the experience based upon what I know, or is this a legit thing? And to me, that was a corroboration that there was something walking or something showing, because I wouldn't have picked that up. I would have said, hey, I picked up this tesseract image, and then it felt like I'm going down this long hallway, but the walls are not walls. It's like you could reach and pluck a string or reach through it. It was almost, I guess the way to describe it would be similar to, you know, when you see the movies where spacecraft is start to go light speed, how you get those lines and like, you know, scenes like that, which that was kind of odd. There were several pops of light, like
We've already got the hot seats in
you've
it.
ever been to an eye doctor when they get in there and they shine the light in your eye looking for contraction. It felt like there was some of that going on when I was catching bright flashes of light, somebody turned a flashlight in my face. And at first I was kind of tense, and then I was kind of relaxing. Yeah, it's just very surreal experience that time, and having the feeling for people around me.
The water bottle is captivating me.
It wasn't a case of threat or danger. It was more like they were just kind of hanging out, seeing how I would react. These other entities, these other beings, and all these different realities are watching us, coming and going. Maybe there's some type of a dimensional rift, because I'm thinking, what is the metal? What is it about? So it was very, very surreal. It was definitely a time slip for me too, because if you remember when Trey was explaining it, once you're hooked up, it's two 20-minute blocks on how it fires the hemispheres of the brain. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to, okay, well, here's this, what about this? And I'm trying to have an interaction. And all of a sudden I feel somebody tap on my leg, and it's Trey saying, you're done. It did not feel like 40 minutes. It felt like maybe 5, 10 minutes. It was pleasant. I mean, I didn't have a feeling of fear. It was surreal because of some of the stuff that I saw, so to speak. But it wasn't anything that would make me nervous about wanting to do it again. Here comes Stephen Lee's analysis. He has no idea of what Sean experienced. So He's completely blind.
Okay, what this is this is where something comes flying into the side of his head from the computer, I guess. Now watch who appears right here. See him? Looks like Marilyn Manson. That's what came to me. And then he's got little dudes in front of him where his eyes should be. If it wasn't for these dudes, we would be able to see him very clearly. But you'll see big ones, little tiny ones. And then what you think is a mouth, you go in there and it's another dude. It's just weird, but check him out.
You're live. I'm live. I'm on
See,
TV, Ma.
I try to find anyone like him anywhere else to where I might be reading it wrong.
Nice.
Look at that big dude.
I made it.
When you look at the overall movement, it's coming in from that side where Sean said he felt the heat on the side of his head. Yeah, I think he pointed to this side, which would be his left, the right is viewed by us. There's Marilyn Manson. Beautiful people, beautiful people. Now, that's frame 5. Watch this. Bam. Bam. Remember I told y'all? I've seen them get squished and then turned into a carrot as they're extruded through a little hole and then they'll pop out here. I saw one dude's eyeballs playing here and then the next thing this rifle shot comes through and both of his eyeballs flew out. So, I've done enough of this to know that these two are the same creature, but as it's expanded here, it becomes compressed here. And you can see him squinching, his eyes are closed, and he's getting squished. Watch. Bam. See that? Bam. He slams right up against Kyle. Is his name right? Kevin? Kyle's face. Boom. Now watch this. Let's see if we can track where it goes. Wow, he actually explodes. That's right. This was a frag. When that dude comes in, everything exploded. See these radial? It's an actual explosion in his brain. Everything goes everywhere. I don't know where he went. That's not him. These are the things that were behind him. See all these layers of glass? It's really, see, you can tell there's someone behind him. When he hits into Kyle's side of his head, it just explodes into all these others. And he's gone. I can't see him. Usually you can trace him. So, you know what, this might be him. He's fractured and going the other way, bounced off his head and exploded. Yeah, I think that's him. So Marilyn Manson 1, Marilyn Manson 2, and Marilyn Manson 3, and then he's done. So this is sort of how it will go. Hi, I'm Stephen Lee, blah, blah, blah. I got a quantum energy developer, blah, blah, blah. I was assigned to this task. I knew nothing about it. No one told me anything. I was just to run it. And this out of the original video sent to me. I had to pick the 120 best, most stable frames because the cameraman was moving towards the end. And so here is the original. Here's the original 120 frames I extracted. As you can see, I'm just practicing everything. As you can see, the scene is homogeneous, there's no changes, there's the only change is this road gently swinging. There are no dark spots on the canvas, there's a computer, a man in a chair, leaves, trees, no direct sunlight, the lighting is diffuse, homogeneous, and the camera barely moves from first frame to last, which is critical in saving time to extract any hidden information. I did not understand why they did this offshoot, why they were grabbing this at the back of the forest. I knew nothing. Pre-knowledge does not, I'm just practicing, rehearsal, like a wedding rehearsal. Pre-knowledge does nothing for me at all, except save me time. The technology doesn't care. I could know everything about this. If there's gold buried in here, I could know that he's got a pacemaker. I could know every single thing ahead of time of what's going on here hidden, and it would not affect it because there's no bias. There's no models, no sims. I literally have no control over this technology. All I can do is guide it. It's like casting a net of frequencies that you, if you know your target ahead of time, then all pre-knowledge does is save me time. If I'm trying to catch a whale, I'm not going to throw a net that's designed to catch a little krill shrimp. I'm going to hurl a big net. That's sort of the analogy. Having me run blind tests benefits the client. Because what we do is so shocking and unbelievable and disruptive. It's for their own sake and their own confidence. There's no funny business going on anymore. We are seeing and unseen. So far, there's nothing in the entire universe, so far, that's kryptonite to us. Nothing. So withholding pre-knowledge from me benefits the offerer, the client, in believing what we do is real. I could care less. So, having covered that, I upscaled this, went into his face.
I'm just going to interrupt there because we're running out of time. But if you remember, all of the faces that he saw, Sean talked about experiencing during the Cornell session. And then Stephen Lee was able to extrapolate the quantum imagery of those faces from a still image that he had no idea. So, what I believe is these things are around us all the time. And not only are we not alone, we're never alone. They're always with us. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I'm a little bit over on my time. I'll be back over at my table. I hate to cut short. If you have any questions or comments, please come over there and talk to me. And if you're interested in seeing the Metal Project film, I'll tell you how to get that and all of that. So anyway, thank you for braving the weather, and I appreciate it. And I will find the MC and turn it over to the next person, who is the lovely Melissa Adair. So thank you very much.
Awesome.
So
Trey Hudson, everybody. Woo!
Can you raise mine up a little bit more now?
Incredible.
That was Trey
Next up, we
Hudson.
have, of
Yeah,
course,
from the Meadow
Melissa
Project.
Adair. Now, what people may not know is her actual claim.
And that was a pretty amazing, speech that he
her
just
actual
made
claim to fame,
Oh, yeah.
and
believe it or
everything.
not,
Pretty
was
cool stuff.
accidentally
So
running over Dolly Parton with a golf cart.
he will be
She's
coming
fine.
and doing an
She's
interview
fine.
with us here in a minute.
A couple lawsuits later, here it is,
Yeah,
Melissa.
maybe.
She's going to be setting up for us for just a second, folks. So if you haven't had a chance to yet, please go and find Greg Ogles and say thank you for picking the coldest day on earth for this.
Yeah, it is
So
cold
generous.
today.
It's cold,
It
very
is.
cold. Sorry, everybody. I've got work things that's going on.
And also, you do have
Here comes my family.
psychic impression
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh,
paintings
there
There
they
they
come.
are. There they are.
out there. which you
That's
can
my
take a look
family.
at. Those are pretty spectacular.
Christina, Jace, and
Natalie
Abigail.
Spearman is out there somewhere, hiding like
We
a
are
movie.
live.
I have to say, Bigfoots are kind of an incredible thing. There she is. Nope, we were just saying hi to you. We were talking about big feet, Bigfoots, big thigh. I don't know what you would call it if they were plural, but I just find it weird that they're so like hairy. And then I start to wonder, like, has a Bigfoot ever like actually seen what their butthole looks like? I don't think so, right? It'd be a good reason to bring like a mirror and put it on the ground for them, just so they can kind of get an idea, a glimpse. A glimpse. So with that, everyone, Melissa Adair, everybody.
All right, so now we got Melissa Adair.
And I'm not sure what that Dolly Parton thing was. All right, so as he said, I'm Melissa Adair. My home is in northeast Georgia, where they're having about 6 inches of snow right now. So I am so excited for the people back home, and I'm sad for me that I don't get to see it because we don't get a lot of snow up there. We get a lot of ice. Got that last weekend. That was fun, but now they're getting snow. So y'all pray for me on my way home that I can make it back. I have been chasing the Bigfoot mystery for about just over 20 years now. And so my presentation today is a lot just about my adventures, just some of the things that I've learned and some of the things that I have experienced that I find really, really interesting. So first, a little bit about me. I am from, like I said, Northeast Georgia, University of Georgia grad, go Dogs. And I am a musician. I've been married for 32 years, and I have 2 adult children. And I love digital marketing. I love it so much that I made a business. So I'm a business owner and have a digital marketing company. I'm an off-road enthusiast and a Bigfoot enthusiast. So some of the associations that I'm involved with, I am on the Relic Films media team. So we're excited that you're all here for the release and premiere of our latest film, The Vanished. And I'm also on our talk show, Beyond the Ordinary. And we do that usually every week, so watch for that to come out. The new episode's released on Sundays. And I'm also a member of SEEKR. SEEKR stands for Southeast Cryptid Research Society. And cryptid is spelled with a K, and that's in honor of the late Bob Wilson. That's his code over there. So a lot of people ask me how I got started in Bigfoot. I got started back in 2005 with my dad, but it actually started a little bit before that. When I was growing up, my dad was always really interested in the subject of Bigfoot. And so if there was a show or a movie or anything on TV about Bigfoot or anything related to Bigfoot, I would watch it with him. And so we were a musical family, and he would make up songs and sing about Bigfoot. So Bigfoot was just sort of a thing that was always in the background as I was growing up. And in 2004, my dad let me know that his interest in Bigfoot had not waned, that he had taken it to the interwebs because the interwebs were just a new thing. And so he was able to find the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, also known as the BFRO, and was so excited because they They teach you how to look for Bigfoot, and they put on expeditions all over the country. So he came to me in the fall of 2004 and told me about this and said they're having an expedition in North Georgia in the winter of 2005. And so I said, well, Dad, that's great. You should totally go. Mom would want you to go. And he said, well, I don't know. And I said, well, you know what? I said, if you don't want to go by yourself, I would love to go with you. It should be really fun. There's got to be so many weirdos there, and it's going to be just crazy. So I would love to go check that out with you. And he's like, okay. So he took me, and he took my brother, because it happened to be my brother's birthday weekend. Even though my brother is a complete skeptic and thinks we're all nuts. But we ended up ditching my brother that weekend and going off and having so much fun. And we met the nicest, most normal people you would ever meet in your lives. And we just had the best time. So that was sort of the birth of my real interest. And from there, I started doing all kinds of investigations with the FRO. And then I went on to meet and explore with other groups around the country. And in so doing, I came across somebody who had seen some of my videos and things that I was just starting to put out. Because you have to remember at that time, YouTube and Facebook were just barely a thing. People were just barely starting to use it. It was brand new. And so, as a joke, a friend of mine that we met on an expedition in Oklahoma, who had seen some of our videos, said, you guys should really brand yourselves and do something. People would watch that.
There you go. Now you can hear us a little bit better. It kind of cuts the other noise out.
Mr. Trey Hudson.
Yes, from the Meadow Project.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you for having me on your show, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. That was very interesting, what you was just sitting there talking about and everything. Can you give, if there's anybody else out there, which I would doubt if there is, because, what you do is pretty famous, but let everybody else know what it is that you do and all that?
Yeah, usually, I just slink around in the back alleys behind the liquor store. No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
That's where you get all the sleaze.
That's right. That's where I see the spirits, if you get my... No, I'm kidding. Actually, I've been doing a project, my team and I, the Anomalous Studies and Observation Groups. We've been exploring and researching an area known as the Meadow, which is somewhere in America's Southland. I don't give the location away because I don't want to compromise it. But it's been compared to the famous Skinwalker Ranch in Utah. And we have pretty much the similar type phenomena going on there to include, albeit a little bit more disturbing, the phenomena actually following us. It's actually now manifesting itself in different areas when we go to different places.
Oh, wow.
So it's been 10 years of investigating. We have had, basically I could stop right now and research and said, I've hit the Mount Everest, I'm happy, but we're going to continue to research it and investigate. We're using some new and novel equipment and techniques to include the Coroner God helmet, which we've had some amazing results with. We used the Estes method, and we just used good old eyeballs, Mark I eyeballs, and boots on the ground to experience the phenomena as it manifests.
Yeah, that's amazing because I was sitting here just watching some of the stuff that y'all have done and
this is not just for fun.
You've seen everything. You also get spiritual activity too, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing is, as I, mature in this and, research more and talk to more people, I think we really need to be careful about putting things into boxes.
Yes.
Like, you got the Bigfoot guys with their Bigfoot box, and the ghost guys. I started off as a ghost guy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my background is at University of West Georgia, studying under Dr. William Roll. So I was, a ghost guy. And then your UFO guys. And the more I research this, it's like, this is all overlaps. It's all facets of the same diamond. So as I kind of expand, the way I look at this and open up my, my avenues into other genres of paranormal and high strangeness, it all starts to fit a lot better. And when you start looking at things from a more multidisciplinary, perspective, you have a whole lot more activity.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that, when you open yourself up to multiple things, you also can see some things for what other people don't see them as too, like Bigfoot and some of the crazy things that happen around there.
Right. And I, back in about 2013, I remember talking to some pretty well-known Bigfoot researchers, and they're like, you're a ghost guy, and I don't want to see I don't want anyone to see me talking to you. But while we were looking at Bigfoot, we had this happen, and it's like, well, dude, that's paranormal. You don't need to just discount that because it doesn't fit in your Bigfoot box.
Yes.
So I think if people are really become more comfortable with this, I think you're going to find the phenomenon is a lot more prevalent than maybe people think it is.
Yeah.
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 And so
Yeah.
in my group, I stayed
Well,
back on the rock.
I do have one other question.
Sure.
How did you find the meadow? I mean, was it?
That's a really cool story. Sometimes life just drops a golden egg in front of you. You just got to be smart enough to say, wait, that's an egg, that's gold. Maybe I ought to pick it up. And that's what happened with us. Is being a ghost guy, I always look at folklore. That's kind of how we earn our spurs.
Yes.
With folklore. And so I found folklore about this haunted road. And the locals say, don't go out there, the haints will get you. So it's like, okay, where am I going? That's where I'm going, to the haunted road. And that was one of those places that they, paved the road over a cemetery, and the spirits will come out and drag their vaporous fingers along the side of your car. All that cool stuff.
Yes.
Of course I'm going, right?
Yeah, right.
So, very famous Bigfoot researcher, Bob Wilson, from Bigfoot is Real and very well known in the community, and his research partner decided to come out and look at this haunted road. Well, Bob stayed back at base camp, and Daryl, his research partner, and I went out to the haunted road, right? Because we were thinking, maybe there's some, Bigfoot overlap, with some of the stories people are telling, and nothing happened. We were skunked. And back at base camp, Bob had this really cool UFO sighting, really cool. And so I started looking into this area, and it's really well known for Bigfoot, ghosts, and UFOs. And it just so happens near base camp where Bob had this sighting, there was a large field or meadow, about 8 acres. And we thought, well, we can, put people around it on the periphery with thermal and night vision. They can see things moving around. It's a natural track trap for something walking across it. There's a ridge to the south of it that we can put a team up that can, observe below them. And there's a wide expanse of sky that we can watch for UFOs. And it's like, this is just really logistically a good place to research. It makes sense.
Yes.
And it turns out, that was the golden egg. It was a place that is so strange that Ryan Skinner, the man who wrote the book, literally wrote the book on Skinwalker Ranch, says this place is every bit as strange as Skinwalker Ranch.
Wow.
Now that's amazing. Because, you have thousands and thousands and thousands of people who follow Skinwalker Ranch all the time, since its inception.
Yeah.
And the first books were written about it.
Right.
And that's pretty amazing because they have all kinds of stuff that happens there. Do you have things that also go into that weird, like not quite Skinwalker type stuff activities, or?
Yeah, their activities, and the Skinwalker is just a word.
Yes.
That's what they it basically runs a gambit of high strangeness, like UFOs, cryptids, the famous cube that I'm always talking about, the portal that you just saw on the video where people disappeared. The other sad thing is, of the 4 people that went into the cube, only 2 are still alive.
Is that the ones that passed? Is that the ones that Greg was talking to us about, where they got cancer and?
Yeah, that was Bob Wilson. His cancer came back with a vengeance, after that experience. And the other one was a gentleman by the name of Tim Gillardin, who we believe was a pulmonary edema, that he died from. And since then, the person that shot that video has developed nasal cancer. I was one of the ones that went into the thing. I've come up with like a really bizarre, super rare genetic skin disorder. Came out of nowhere, baffles a dermatologist. So, kind of like you hear about at Skinwalker Ranch and other places, like Dr. Gary Nolan has been researching, there are negative health side effects to this.
Yes.
So this is my little soapbox I'm going to get out and, tell everybody out there, if you're looking at really getting into this stuff, doing serious research, be aware there could be some negative health consequences, and you just need to be aware of that.
Yeah. You think that those portals themselves, the fact of being near them or things like that, could be the cause of most of that stuff?
Yeah, I think so. And in my second book, I actually have a chapter on health effects, and I look at the famous. My mind just went completely blank. That happens. The Betty Cash and case in Texas, where she had some very negative health experiences. And then I go into the some of the work by Dr. Gary Nolan, some of the Defense Intelligence Agency's research on it. So I think that something about being in the vicinity of high strangeness affects us, maybe in ways we don't even, maybe multidimensionally,
Yeah.
and it manifests itself in the way our health is experienced here in our three-dimensional world.
Right.
Yeah.
Our bodies aren't meant to be
Right.
subject to
Yeah,
those
no.
things. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming over.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to get you on the show full time sometime.
Sure.
Yeah.
We do a show every Saturday, 2-hour show.
We'll do a live show.
Okay.
So,
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, I will make sure you get one of my cards.
Yes, sir.
Just give me a holler,
Yeah.
and we'll see what we can do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
I did like the experiments you did with was it a checkerboard or
Yeah.
that was pretty awesome the way you did that.
Yeah, we've done 2 variations of that, and unfortunately the experiment hasn't yielded any results. But on that particular experiment, we took a box, like a Pelican box,
Yeah.
and we made a grid system in it. And we took magnetic letters and put the letters, just randomly, photographed it, wrote it down, sealed the box, left it in the meadow 48 hours, and then opened it back up. And, that's something that we do is we try to use scientific experimentation in
Right.
conjunction with it, because one of the big things of the Anomalous Studies and Observation Group is we look at it from two areas. One is empirical, like data, So we've got radiation readings, we've got video, we've got audio, we've got all of this scientific stuff, but also the experiential. How do people experience this? Because quite frankly, you can have all the equipment in the world in an area of high strangeness, and if there's not a human being that's being affected,
Yeah.
what's the point?
Yes.
Why bother?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Well, we really appreciate you stopping in.
Well, thanks
Tell
for
everybody how to get a hold of you before you leave.
Yeah, like I said, go to the aforementioned liquor store. Just look under the greasy cardboard box in the alley. You'll see my
Yes.
foot sticking out, with a bottle of wild turkey. No, I'm kidding.
An empty bottle, probably.
An empty
No,
bottle. No, I'm kidding. Of course, you can go to Facebook at Trey Hudson-author. That's usually where I'm kind of hanging out most of the time. TreyHudsonResearch.com. And if anybody's interested in my books, they're on Amazon. Just type in Trey Hudson. I got Meadow and Return to the Meadow, and a feature-length film called The Meadow Project, which is distributed by Merkel Films, which you can go to www.merkelfilms.com.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's Tony Merkel. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Oh, that's awesome.
What did I eat? What's happening to me?
Oh, someone sitting there.
Yeah, Daryl, I didn't see it till just now,
And so
so
I better say something to my husband in case
I'm
I
sure he
fall
had a
out.
good one.
Just left not knowing what's wrong with me. And I said, I feel
Seemed like a great guy.
Yeah,
And,
that'd be awesome.
He's like, I do too. And I
He's
said, I
like
feel
a
really
more
too.
scientific
So do I.
researcher.
And
Yeah, that
I'm
was
like,
amazing. I mean,
Is this what?
that's the first time we've ever talked
At
to
the time,
him at all.
the
So.
nickname for it was being zapped. Is this what being zapped feels like?
All right, we're going to put you back on the show for a little bit.
Yes.
He's like, I don't know. And I said, well, I don't really feel scared. I feel sort of euphoric, like drugs kicking in or something. And I'm like, I don't know. I said, do you think we should leave? And I looked at him, and my husband was just like transfixed on the area from which I felt like this was all coming from. And he stood there for a few seconds, and it felt like an eternity. And he said, yeah, I think we should leave. And so as soon as he said that, I threw my feet in the car, shut the door, and then he packed up all the stuff and threw it back, and we took off back down to the main road. And I was so worked up and so freaked out by it that my teeth were chattering and I couldn't talk normal. My chin kept bumping up onto my teeth. And when we finally got to the end of the road, my husband stops and he looks at me and says, we have to go back. And I'm like, what? We have to go back? He said, we have to go back because I just left my brand new handheld GPS. That's how long ago it was. My brand new handheld GPS on the ground. I'm like, what? You're kidding me. So we had to go back up there. So the whole time we were driving back up to where we were like this, looking for anything to see if anything's out there. And so when we get up there, he gets out, picks it up, gets back in the car, and he said, that feeling was just gone. Whatever it was gone. So that was really interesting, and that's one of the first experiences of that happened to me. Another experience that is one of my favorites, because I was with my dad who got me into Bigfoot research. We were in North Carolina. It was really, really cold. It was in February. I think it was in the teens. And we were all wearing those hunter's jumpsuits, where you step into it, put your arms through it, you zip it up, and you have the hood. We all kind of looked like Bigfoot creatures walking around. And so we were camping, and it was super cold, and we decided that we would go to this cemetery that was across from the camp area the campground where we were, because that area was rich in Bigfoot sightings. And so we had several people with us on this expedition that had never been to this area before, but they heard stories. And so I was happy to lead everybody down to this, it was a pre-Civil War cemetery, it was really old. And I said, I'm happy to lead everybody down there because I've been to it a number of times. And so our plan was to take this route down there, to hunker down around the cemetery, and to see if anything happened, to see if we could elicit some responses. And so, anyway, I was happy, I was excited to take all these guys down there. Now, this was before everybody had a handheld thermal. So 3 of the guys had night vision. They had some night vision with them. So that's all the equipment that we had with us. So I was walking in front. I kind of took points and led everybody down there. And then my dad was walking behind me. And about 3 or 4 guys kind of trickling back behind them. And so as we were walking down there, like I said, I was excited. I was excited to show these guys this area. And as soon as we got there, and we're walking about halfway down, or about halfway to the cemetery, it was like I walked into a wall of fear. That's the only way I can describe it. I became terrified. My heart was racing. I started sweating. I started to panic. And I'm like, what's happening to me? Why am I terrified? Why am I scared? And so I'm trying to talk myself down. It's all in your head. It's all in your head. And so I was talking myself down because all these people were depending on me to get them to the spot. So I'm like, okay, just hold it together, Melissa. Hold it together. Okay. So I did. I was talking myself down all the way to the cemetery. And we spread out around the edges of the cemetery. The guys with the night vision were all in different spots, and they were, watching and scanning the area. And we were there for a while, and it was, like I said, it was extremely cold. And so we decided, after being there for a time, we decided we would try some howls and some wood knocks. And so we did those. We didn't get any real responses. Nothing really happened, and it was getting so cold. I was worried about my dad getting too cold, and he mentioned to me the 5th time that he was cold. So I said, I'll take you back to the fire. So I told the guys, I'm going to leave with my dad, and we're going to go back to the campfire because it's really, really cold. And like, that's fine. We're going to hang out with our night vision for a little bit longer, and then we'll come back. And I said, okay, cool. So I stepped down onto the gravel road and start walking back, and my dad's behind me. And then after a few paces, I realized he's not with me. And so I turn around and look, and he's about 10 paces behind me, and he's doing this. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I thought somebody was coming with us. I heard somebody behind me. I said, well, nobody's there. Just let's go. And so we start walking. We're walking side by side down this road and back to the campfire. And I get him to the fire. We warm up. I go around to other places in the camp to let people know that we were back, that nothing really happened. And then by the time I get back to the fire, the guys with the night vision are back. And they're like, well, listen, where was that trail you took to get back to the campfire? And I'm like, what do you mean? What trail? And he said, the trail that you took to get back. And I'm like, I walked out the same way we walked in. And he's like, no, when you split off from your dad. And at that point, my eyes got like saucers, and I'm looking at them like, I never split off from my dad. We walked shoulder to shoulder all the way down that road the same way we walked in. And so we're like, oh my gosh, you saw something. You saw something. And so we went back and reenacted the whole thing. We stationed them in the same places, and we left the same way and so that they could watch us walk. And they said, when we finished the experiment and the reenactment, they said, okay, whatever we saw, it wasn't you. It didn't look anything close to what we saw when we watched you walk out. This was completely different. And so what I think happened was, because there had been numerous reports in this area of Bigfoot creatures, and there had been a thermal capture in this area where someone captured a creature on thermal in the area, in the same place where I was walking into. What I think happened was, as I was walking in and encroaching on its territory, it threw out the infrasound, and it caused me to feel really scared in an effort to make me want to go away. But I pushed against it and went in, and we stayed there for a while. And when I left, what I think happened was it crossed behind my dad, and then it paralleled us through the woods on the way out, and that's what they saw through the thermal. I think that's what happened. So that was a really, really interesting experience, and a very, very different experience from my first experience with infrasound. So the final experience that I will share is a little bit different and very recent. This just happened in November with the Relic Films team. We were in the LBL, which is the Land Between the Lakes in Kentucky. We were shooting a documentary, and we had an all-female team go out with 2 cameramen into an area where they had activity, and they had actually seen Bigfoot creatures in this area. And so, again, it was a cemetery, and Bigfoot like to hang around cemeteries for some reason. And so we were in this cemetery, and we walked in, and we were told not to be meek and mild, but to be a little more aggressive and stand our ground, to see if we could get some sort of a response. So we did. We walked in, we made ourselves real big, and we let out some more aggressive sounding calls. After that happened, after we did maybe 2 or 3 of those calls and spread out, this, I don't even know how to describe it, this pounding sound started. And it sounded like it was coming from off the ridge, and then it sounded like it was coming in the forest around us. And it was so loud and so forceful, it felt like somebody was picking up an oak tree and picking it up and slamming it on the ground up and down repeatedly, because I could feel it in the ground. It was shaking the earth, and I could feel it in my chest. It was vibrating the whole earth, and it was crazy. And I thought, we've done it. We've called them in. I mean, this is how I die. They're all gonna come out, eat me. And I really thought that's what had happened at this point. And it was crazy. And then, there were other things that were going on too. There was, we could see like these lights in the wilderness or in the forest above us. There was a light that kind of looked like a stream of light, like somebody turned on a flashlight, and you could see the beam come down. But it was not bright. It wasn't bright. It was faint, but you could see it. And then all of a sudden, all of us could see like these 3 figures at the top, and they were all crouched low to the ground that were down there. And so we had somebody on thermal. They're scanning the area. They can see nothing. They don't see anything on thermal, but you can clearly see these 3 little whatever they were up there. We could see them, and it was crazy. And so we're standing there, and I'm standing out a little. I'm the tallest in the group, and we're on an incline. And so I'm standing out here. The girl with the thermos on my left, and the rest of the girls are over here. I started to get sick. I started to feel really nauseated, and I was like, I don't feel good. I don't feel really good right now. And so Natalie is like, come stand behind me. Just come stand behind me for a minute. So I did. I went and stood behind her. And then a few minutes later, Jamie, who was with us, also another girl, she's like, I don't feel good either. I feel nauseous, and I feel a lot of pressure in my head, a lot of pressure in my chest. I said, yeah, that's how I was feeling too. And so she's like, come stand back here with Melissa with us. And so we're down there, and that seemed to help. It seemed to like block it or whatever. It seemed to be a little bit better after we did that. And then so I'm behind Natalie, and the cameraman's over here. We're all kind of talking about what we want to do next. The pounding had started up again at some point. And then I think because we were distracted and looking at each other and not really looking around, all of a sudden, one of the three things starts charging towards us. And I didn't see it. All I saw was our cameraman scream and jump out of the way. And at that point, Natalie, who's in front of me, goes down, and she had bear spray on her, and she starts firing the bear spray at whatever it is. And so I couldn't see anything, again, because she's in front of me, and it's dark, and I thought something tagged our cameraman and then was about to tag Natalie, so I was ready to grab Natalie. And so it was real dark, and whatever they could, the cameraman and Natalie, were the ones to be able to see it. And it had long spindly arms and kind of loped and galloped toward them. And from everything that we can see from the research we've been able to do on whatever that was, we don't feel like that was a Bigfoot creature at all. We think it's what's referred to as a rake. And so if you Google rake, mythical creature, you can see a pretty good picture of what they saw. Very, very strange. But in that area where we were, things of high strangeness happen all the time that are interspersed and intermingled with Bigfoot and other entity sightings. So that was my first experience with something really odd and really different and out of the norm. But I definitely feel like that I did experience the ultrasound at that point, and it made me nauseous. And I wasn't the only one; someone else experienced it as well. So that experience was crazy, and it's one that I will never forget. And I just want to go back and because it made me walk away with more questions than answers, right? So I don't know what that was all about, but it was crazy. And so this kind of brings me into, here's one more thing. I have family that live out in Oregon. My daughter married a boy from Oregon, and they knew I was into Bigfoot, so they wanted to take me to this Bigfoot trap. And this is an actual thing. You can Google it, look it up. It was built in 1974 in the Siskiyou National Forest, and it was built to capture a Bigfoot creature because there are so many reports in that area. And then it was abandoned in 1980 because it didn't work. Go figure. But they took me out here to this abandoned Bigfoot trap. And so while we were there, and I was on my way to the airport, so that's why I'm dressed like that. I'm not really dressed to hike. And so they took me to see this. And so we sat there, and we were sitting on, there's some down trees everywhere. We were just sitting and talking a little bit about Bigfoot, a little bit about the area, and what limited things they knew about Bigfoot sightings in this area. And then all of a sudden, the air got really still, really still. And all of the birds and nature sounds stopped. It got silent. And then probably, I don't know, 100 feet from where we were sitting, you hear this boom. And it was a tree getting pushed over, which is also associated with Bigfoot activity. And so I remarked, I said, did you guys notice how still and quiet it got here? And then all of a sudden we heard that. I said, there's a reason there's a trap here. Because people hear, they hear it. They witness and see things all the time. So this was kind of a fun experience. I mean, I just went on a fluke to see this thing, and because my family knew I loved Bigfoot. And then just had kind of a really weird experience while we were out there. It was pretty crazy. So we're going to delve a little further into the high strangeness. In a remote and undisclosed area in Georgia, I was with seekers, and we kept seeing these lights at night from the forest. They would just flash. It was like having a green cast to them. They would just flash. Yeah. All those answers right out. And so we couldn't figure out what it was. And so this little video right was taken and made. Oh, I don't know if it's gonna play. It's not gonna play. Sorry, it won't play. She actually caught it on her game cam. You can actually see it daylight out. It's just this little flash of light coming from this very thick part of the forest, and there's nothing there. There's nothing there. We hiked it all during the day to look. Just really, really strange. And then another expedition that was done by seekers right after that, in an area very close to where we saw the strange lights, they had experiences. They had 2 researchers that had overwhelming panic and anxiety, visual distortion, sounds of movement, and then the radios would work for a space of a time, and they had lost time. They lost 40 minutes. So, and then they had one of the researchers that this happened to had the 360 tracking app, and it showed her in 2 places at one time for 40 minutes. Crazy, high strangeness stuff that happens. Basically, they've been told, I was told I have 2 minutes left. If you are interested in old Bigfoot stories, I have them on my Bigfoot Chick Adventures page on Facebook. If you go look at the pictures there, I have all of these articles that date back to like the 1600s, and it's like tales of wild men, and it's a crazy, crazy stories. And the way they wrote back then is just really interesting to read and entertaining. So if you enjoy stuff like that, I encourage you to go to my Bigfoot Chick Adventures page on Facebook and look at the pictures, the photos. You'll see those there. These are a couple of my favorites. I'm just over those for now. So if you are interested at all in following me, you can follow me through Relic Films. You can follow me Bigfoot Chick Adventures. If you type in Siren, spelled S-I-R-E-N, BFC, Bigfoot Chick, and the number 1, so Siren BFC1, that's my handle on all of the socials. So if you want to follow me, you are welcome to do that. I also have a booth here. I'm selling all kind of fun Bigfoot hats and stickers and all kinds of fun stuff. So if you would love to come and look at my table and talk to me in person about some of these experiences, I would love to talk to you and love to meet you. So thank you for your time.
Melissa Dare, everybody. That was awesome. All right, coming up next in about 5 minutes, we will have the Bigfoot Howling Hootenanny. One of a kind time, folks. So start working on your howl.
The
That's gonna be
Bigfoot Howling
5 minutes.
Hootenanny.
After that, we will have the one, the only, Jessica Jones. So she'll be right after, again, the howling has to come first. Okay? Just consider your howling at Jessica Jones, maybe. I don't know. Whatever works. All right, folks, get them ready.
Yes.
4 minutes,
Yep.
47 seconds.
Yes, absolutely.
Crazy North Carolina redneck hillbilly.
Absolutely.
I'll bring
That's all the best kind.
Somebody went to get coffee. I got a sure big coffee. I got coffee.
Yeah, some reals. The stuff you can stand a horseshoe up in. Yeah.
Because I need to get wired up
Yeah.
more than all
That's what this does.
wires just up or down.
Yeah, I'm about to rip that off. He's over here, broom, 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 broom. I'm like,
I'm like a pot of coffee a day guy, but the wife's got me on this stuff, and I can't drink coffee now. It's vitamins, and then it's got natural caffeines and stuff in it, and so
Punishing him by making him live longer with me.
Oh, okay.
that's a punishment. She kills me, but at the same time, she's punishing me, trying to make me live longer. It's weird, but so she's got me on this Thrive stuff, and so it's got natural caffeines in it, so you can't drink caffeine. Good. How you doing? So you can't drink caffeine.
Decaf and half caff.
Yeah.
Today's not a decaf.
No. I'm on a full. Yeah, I take those 2 kids. That's right. That's right.
I want to introduce myself. My name's
I would
Michael.
like to.
Jason. David.
David,
Good to meet you.
nice to meet you.
I'm out of Jasper, Alabama. I'm research and research.
Yeah.
Got a new book coming out.
Awesome. Okay.
Will do.
Get a. We got it. Yeah, we do. We're live right now, but yeah. Look at that. Oh, you changed cameras. Greg isn't on there. Oh, there's Greg. Look at that.
Mr. Greg Ogle right
Mr.
there.
Greg Ogles, the man, the myth.
Hello.
You gonna hoot and holler at the contest? You gonna?
Yep, there's going to be a hootenanny contest going on right here in just a few minutes. It's going to be a $50 top prize for the winner of the hootenanny
Wow.
contest.
Nice.
So, yep. So, Michelle, I am saying that she has got to get in it.
Woo! I think she'd win.
I think she would.
We need people like that.
Yep. Come on.
I think he's wearing one of your patches.
What do you think?
I think you're.
I like that. I like that.
I have my standards.
Thrive.
Right. Okay. Well,
But yes, we are.
gotta run.
Yes.
The Yeti version.
Gotta go enter the hootenanny contest.
Woo!
Dolphin Man. Whatever it is. Bring your A game.
Today, one from Melissa, one from Natalie, but I will. I got your cards. I'll get y'all copies.
Oh, thank you.
We're getting ready to release the second book of life next. So
Okay.
it's 23 years.
So is this true story?
Well, the first one is the only story in that book is mine.
Okay.
The first encounter I had in 2002, and then after that, I just go with my feelings. And
All right, guys, if you were doing the Bigfoot howling or other animal, okay, please go ahead and come onto the stage for a chance to win 50 smackaroonies. It's like a macaroni.
How are you?
Can you hear us?
I can.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
That was a nice presentation.
Thank you. I love talking about Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yes.
When did you get started in this?
I got started in 2005, so I've been doing it for a long time.
Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing. So,
So whatever it is, you've got.
sorry, I just got sidetracked from people screaming. Yeah. So, what kind of got you into doing it though? What, was like, oh man, that's it.
Yeah, like I was saying in my presentation, my dad was really interested in Bigfoot when I was growing up. So Bigfoot was just kind of like one of those family joke back burner kind of things, and we would sing songs about Bigfoot and stuff. And so it was just, it was a thing.
Yeah.
And so in 2004, we lost my mom, and my dad, and the interwebs were just getting going, right?
Yeah.
And so my dad said, I just want you to know that my interest in Bigfoot is still very much alive and well, and I've taken it to the interwebs. And I'm like, well, all right.
Woo!
Wow.
Okay. Whew. My brain just got fried.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, they said, or he said, there's this organization that puts on expeditions, and they're coming to our state, and they teach you how to look for Bigfoot. And I'm like, well, that's awesome. You should totally go. And I could tell he didn't really want to go by himself. And
It's kind of hard to.
It's hard to focus, isn't it?
and I could tell he didn't want to go by himself, so I said, I'll go with you. There's probably a lot of weirdos there. It'd be really cool, right? It'd be fun to hang out. And he's like, yeah, okay, because I think he was worried about that he might end up, in some place that he didn't want to be.
Yeah.
And so we went, and we took my brother because it was his birthday weekend, and my brother is a complete skeptic and thinks we're all nuts. And so we ended up
kind of ditching my brother and going off and doing some Bigfoot stuff, and met the nicest people, right? The coolest people, and that had really. I mean, I was just hooked on all their stories. A lot of people had had actual sightings, or somebody in their family or a friend had had one, and that's what had ignited their interest in the subject, and they just wanted to know what it was. And so I loved it. I loved hearing all the stories. So I got hooked and became an investigator for that organization for a time, and started doing a lot of expeditions, and ended up doing expeditions with other groups and meeting a lot of other people. And through that, I was doing some research with one of my girlfriends at the time, and the picture that I put up in my presentation was made kind of as a joke. And when I put it up on my Facebook cover, anybody that had a podcast about Bigfoot was contacting us for interviews right after it. So it kind of propelled us to the front of the Bigfoot Sandbox overnight, which was crazy, because it's still very much a male-dominated hobby or interest area, but at the time it was even more so. So it was, to have women that were putting out content and doing podcasts as guests, that I guess that we were a novelty, so it kind of made us stand out a little bit. But that, it was great. And so it made me, it put me in places where I could meet a lot of people that had a lot of experience. And I got to work with Dr. Meldrum and Adam Davies and Ken Gerhardt and people like that just, were kind of like my heroes anyway, right? And so I got to meet him and go out and work with them and work on some film projects with some of them. So it was really fun. And that's pretty much how I got started into it, and have been doing it ever since.
How did you get hooked up with Relic Films?
I got hooked up with Relic Films through my membership in Seekers, which is the Southeast Cryptid Society, and Greg Ogles is a member of that group, and so he heard me speak at a conference, and then I joined their group shortly thereafter and went on a couple of expeditions with them, and he invited me to go to the LBL, which I had wanted to go, my whole Bigfoot interest career, to go to that place, and I just never had a reason or to go, or a group that wanted to go, because it's not the kind of place you go by yourself.
Right.
So I when he was like, I'm going to be shooting a documentary, and so I would like the Seekers group to be there so I can do some. It basically sounded like he was going to shoot a bunch of B-roll, right? So I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be on camera, I gotta get some better hiking clothes. My hiking clothes are all burned and nasty and whatever. So I invested in a couple of like these like army fatigues and stuff to go out hunting in, so I could look like a hunter, and go do all this stuff. Well, when I get there, he's interviewing me and doing all this stuff. He goes, hey, I'd really like you to be on our team, and I really want you to do some more stand-ups for this documentary. I'm like, okay. I can do that. I mean, I wish I would have known that beforehand. I would have dressed better.
Yeah.
And so anyway, he's like, no, you're fine. I'm like, but I'm the only person wearing fatigues. And so anyway,
dressing the part.
Yeah. So we just gelled as a group. When you have a bunch of creatives together, sometimes it's awesome and sometimes it's terrible.
It's a train wreck.
And so so we just gelled, like instantly, and none of us really knew that was going to happen. So the birth of the Relics film team kind of happened in the LBL. It was just, I think it was something that Greg was thinking about, and he talked to me a little bit about doing a couple of things, like he talked to Natalie and Adam, but it just sort of magically came together, and we gelled really well. And so my head's still spinning really with all the different opportunities that are in front of us now, and I do digital marketing for a living, and I've been doing a lot of the marketing for Relic Films, which has been helpful, to get the.
That's what I was going to ask. I was like, having that kind of a background, that would make it a little bit easier, because you'd have some knowledge of how to do marketing for.
Yeah, for sure, and. So Greg was like, I just don't know how to do this, and I just don't know how to do that, and so I do business networking as a big part of what I do, and I'm like, well, you need strategic partners, you need to join the chamber, you need to do all this stuff, and he's like, I do? I'm like, yeah, you do. And so it's been fun working with him and teaching him, and for him to say, oh my gosh, you're right, I'm so glad I did that. I'm like, I told you. So anyway, it's been a learning experience for all of us, but so many opportunities have been coming our way, and we're just having so much fun. And it's just like, it doesn't seem like work when you're having so much fun.
Right.
Yeah, that's what this is fun to us. It's like a hobby, really. We'd have day jobs, but this is fun.
I know. If we could just somehow magically reverse it so that our day jobs could be our hobby and still get paid the same amount.
That would be amazing.
Right? It'd be awesome.
We'll manifest that somehow.
Yeah, I know. I do it every day. I'm like, how can I just want to be Josh Gates. That's who I want to be. I want my own
He's
version.
amazing.
Yeah. I just want to be that. So, so maybe one day we'll just keep manifesting it, like you said.
Yes. So when you was in the LBL, did y'all have like some crazy stuff happen?
Oh my
there?
gosh, yes. And like, I'm a Bigfoot chick, right? So I look for Bigfoot, and I don't really look for anything else.
Right.
Now, my husband was into ghost hunting for a time, so I'm familiar with that and all the gadgetry that goes along with that. And then I have friends that have done that too, and that are Bigfoot researchers, but also paranormal researchers. So I've had a little exposure to it. But going to the LBL was intense and awesome, but I left with more questions than answers.
Really?
And because in my Bigfoot experience, there's two camps. There's the flesh and blood, and then there's the spiritual, multidimensional, whatever.
Yes.
And so I was always somewhere in the middle, more towards the flesh and blood side, because my experience only led me to that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't, but of course I'd met people and I found them to be credible that spoke way to the other side. And I'm like, okay, so I always keep my mind really open, because I know that I don't know, you know?
Right.
And so, so I just was like, when we went there, we had Tracy Lynn, the White Witch that was there, and she was awesome. I really enjoyed meeting her, and she did the God helmet and the box thing, and she did all these different things. And she, everybody running the experiment wanted us all away from her, so that if she felt like people were around her, it wasn't any of us, or whatever. So, I was like, I was cool with it. This was all new to me. I'd seen this done in videos, but I'd never been present when it was done. And so, we were doing a lot of filming that day, and so I was in my tent, I think, trying to get my hair to smash down under my hat and make myself not look like I've been living in a tent all week. And so my tent was closest to the area of where they were doing the experiment with her. And then the campfire was just, she was kind of to the left and the campfire was kind of to the right, and some people were kind of hanging out watching at the campfire. Other people were way further off in the campsite. And so she started channeling, a much younger female and talking like a much younger girl, like a teenager. And it was her voice, but it took on the characteristics of just a very young, frightened, freaked out teenager. And so Trey Hudson was running the experiment, and he was talking back and forth with her, and it was like they were having an actual conversation, even though I know she couldn't hear him or see him. They were having a conversation, and I was like, this is wild. I have never seen anything like this, right? And so, because in the videos that I had watched, sometimes it sounds like there's a conversation, but it's very disjointed, and it's not fluid,
Yes.
And it's just, it sounds like it could be a conversation sometimes, and other times it just kind of sounds random. You know, it's just, yeah. This was a full out conversation. It was smooth. It was like, I mean, it was crazy. And so, as that was happening, she began to get more and more agitated and upset and freaking out and crying and just terrified. And I just kind of looked at Natalie at one point and said, do we do anything? You know, what do we do? And she's like, no, it's just part of the session or whatever. I'm like, okay. So I went back in my tent and she was really freaking out, and Trey was doing great, you know, just kind of talking her down, calming her down, doing all these different things. Well, in the course of all that, I heard a gunshot go off, and it sounded like it was right in camp. And I'm like, who was firing a gun in camp?
Right.
And I was freaked out, and I thought, well, the guy that does security, Sean, for us, I'm like, he's not going to be okay with that. He'll put an end to this, you know. And I keep waiting to hear Sean's booming voice come up. It never comes up. And then, and so the session keeps going on, and then I hear another shot right there in camp. And then I'm like, that is too close. Who is doing that? You know, I'm getting really irritated that somebody would be so irresponsible, right? And then I start smelling the gunpowder, so I know they're close. And I came out, and I'm like, their session had ended, and I'm like, who was firing the gun? And then there was nobody around. They said, nobody's here in camp. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I heard 2 gunshots. I know the other people did too. And they're like, yeah, we heard them too. I smelled the gunpowder. And then Trey said, she manifested this girl who was one of 2 girls, 14 and 16 years old, who had been kidnapped from Tennessee and driven up to the LBL and murdered. And so there were 2 gunshots because there were 2 girls that were murdered. I said, but I heard them and I smelled the gunpowder. That is crazy.
Yeah,
I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I was just like, I had never experienced anything like that. And so, you know, they do these things in areas of high strangeness, run these tests and do these experiments because I guess there's some evidence to indicate that if there is anything going on, high strangeness, it kind of recharges its batteries or, you know, can elicit more activity or something. So, and I'm like, that's cool, you know, we're here for activity, whatever, you know, I'm just the Bigfoot chick, you know. And so anyway, a couple of nights later, I mean, we had weird stuff happen. Like Natalie had somebody playing in the water of the bath area behind her tent, and then we had like drones flying through our camp early in the morning that weren't anybody's drone. I mean, there was just weird stuff happening, you know. And then so we went out a number of times, and you know, weird stuff was happening, and but nothing specific. Just seemed weird, felt weird, and so they wanted to do an all-female team going out to this area where they had shot the previous documentary, and they'd actually seen Bigfoot creatures. And so Natalie and I had been out there with some other people a couple of days before, and nothing really happened. I mean, it felt like we were being watched. It felt like people were around, but or things were around, but nothing concrete, you know. And we ended up singing to them, and it really it kind of got like an agitated kind of feel, and you could hear some howls going off and stuff. And we started singing, and it all just kind of just chilled out, you know.
Wow.
And so 2 days later, they said, okay, we want you not to be all sweet and maternal. we want you to go out and be just really deliberate and more forceful, you know, with your presence in that area. So we did, and we went, and there were 6 of us women and 2 cameramen, and so we walked up, and it was a graveyard area, and then like the perimeter of this area was more mountains, and supposedly there were caves and Indian burial grounds and all kinds of stuff allegedly further up, right? And so we went, and we spread out. We had our hands on our hips. We stood really big, you know, trying to make ourselves really big, and, you know, like, here we are, deal with this kind of thing. And we did some really more aggressive sounding calls, not just like the sustained long whoops that are kind of lyrical. We just did these more like really gruff, more powerful, more masculine like calls to them. And then right after that happened, after we did a few of those, this pounding started, and it sounded like it was coming off the top of the ridgeline above us, but it also sounded like it was in the trees around us. And I just had the picture in my mind of something picking up an oak tree and lifting it up and pounding it on the ground up and down repeatedly, because that's how loud it was.
Wow.
And you could feel it. It was shaking the earth. You could feel it in your feet. You know, it was vibrating in your feet. And then I could feel it like in my chest, like if you're around like a really loud subwoofer and you can feel it in your chest. I mean, that's what it felt like. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? That's weird. And we're all like looking at each other going, y'all hear that, right? It's not just me. And they're like, yeah, we hear it. And I'm like, and then it started to kind of intensify. And then it was just like a pounding sound. And then it became more rhythmic, like bum, 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 bum. And it had like a,
almost like drums.
Like a Indian, Native American drum kind of thing. I've been to some powwows, and that's what it kind of reminded me of. And I was like, okay, that's different. And so at that point, the feeling was getting really intense, and I was like, we've called them in. This is how I die. They're all going to come out, and they're gonna squash us or eat us or whatever they do. And it said, at least I died doing what I love, and I'll know that they're out there.
Please be on film.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. I hope just get it on film. Whatever's happening here. And so, it was intense, and I was like, I was starting to get a little unnerved. Okay, a lot unnerved. At that point, I was just like, whatever's making that sound is really big, whatever it is. And so we, we're sitting there, or not sitting, we're standing, and I started to get really nauseated. I'm standing more towards the front of the group, and Kristen was standing next to me, and she had a thermal, and she's scanning all around. She doesn't see anything. Can't see anything with a thermal, which I thought was really strange, because something's here, and so she's kind of a little behind me, but to my left, and Natalie's a little just kind of like right next to me out to the right, and then the rest of the girls are kind of trickling back this way. And so I started to feel real nauseated and kind of lightheaded, and I felt like kind of some pressure in my head, pressure in my chest a little bit. I just said, I don't feel so good. And Natalie's like, get behind me. Let me just block the energy or whatever's happening. And I'm like, okay. So, I went to stand behind her. So I'm up for anything, So I'm standing behind her. We're on an incline, so that now makes us more level, because, I'm everybody is a whole head taller than Natalie. But I'm a whole head taller than Natalie. So we were on an incline, and she was in front of me. So we were about the same height at that point, right? And so when I went behind her, I did start to feel better. I didn't notice it anymore. It just kind of went away. And then Jamie, another girl in our group, started complaining about not feeling good. And she was kind of in an exposed area on the other side. And I'm like, and so Natalie's like, come get behind us. So we all kind of grouped in tighter. And it did help. We all started feeling better.
Yeah.
And then we started looking up towards the tree line where all this action seemed to be coming from. And we could see this like beam of light shining out behind a tree. And it was like a flashlight. Like if somebody was standing behind a tree and flicked on a flashlight, and you see that beam of light come out behind it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't bright. It wasn't obvious, but it was definitely there.
Right.
And all of us saw it. And then there were 3 little figures that sort of popped out up there. Now the people who could see better than I can, because I only have really good sight in one eye. I have one eye that's compromised. So the people that could see really well, they said they could see these things moving, back and forth. They were like crouched on the ground and moving, but I could see it. It was 3 little figures of some kind. I don't know how to describe it. Just these little something move, and they said they were kind of moving, and I thought I could see movement, but I wasn't sure. But the others who had better eyesight than me were like, oh yeah, they're moving. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting, you know. And so there was a lot of talk of dogmen in the area. So I'm like, maybe that's a dogman? I mean, I don't know. I haven't had a lot of experience with dogmen, so I don't know. And so our cameraman let out 3 loud, aggressive calls. And then we started turning to each other and talking about what we were going to do next. So our focus was on each other and not the surrounding areas. And at that moment, or within a few seconds of that, after we'd been talking about what we wanted to do next, all of a sudden, Greg jumps out of the way and yells and draws his gun, and Natalie goes down in front of me and she pulls out her bear spray and starts. I see the stream go. I hear it and I see the stream go. And I can't see anything, but I'm like, oh crap. I said, something's charging him. It's tagged Greg. Now it's after Natalie, you know? So I'm like, I'm ready to grab her and pull her. I'm like, not today, Satan. You're not taking my friend. So I, I'm ready to do that. And because she's in front of me and it's so dark, I can't tell what's happening, but something's happening, you know, and because they're freaking out. And so after the bear spray goes off, it's bear spray. So we all got to retract because everybody's coughing at that point. So we got to get off and get off this land. So we go back down to the road. And so as soon as we got back down to the road, it seemed like it relaxed. The feeling relaxed a little bit because we had retreated at that point, which was what I guess they wanted all along. And so, but I didn't feel like they were gone by any means, you know, just that they were happier that we were at a safer distance from them or whatever. So, but what they describe seeing is like this humanoid-like creature that was dark, big dark eyes, and it had long spindly arms, and it was on all fours, and it was just kind of loping and galloping like this, almost like somebody that was handicapped or something, you know, just kind of had an odd gait, lope to it, and but was coming towards them. And I said, that doesn't sound like Bigfoot, and it doesn't sound like Dogman from all the accounts that I've heard of.
Sounds like a rake.
That's what, when we started really investigating and doing some research, I'm like, that sounds like a rake. I don't know anything about them, just that they're mythical creatures, and I have seen videos that may or may not be legit,
right,
you know, I mean,
right.
AI takes over everything, right? So, I mean, I've seen videos of alleged, you know, cameras on properties that caught a rake, you know, but, and they look similar to what these two people described it was, but of our whole group, it was only the cameraman and Natalie that got a good view at it because they were right there in front. Right. The rest of us were behind them, so we didn't really see it.
Greg says, he told us last night he still has PTSD from that. He said he was trying to cut some and edit. Yeah. And he was like, he couldn't even watch it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then, you know, and then the other things that in the back of all that, in the post-production, you know, we were shooting some Beyond the Ordinary, which is our talk show that we do. We were shooting a few episodes in the field while we were there, and we watched Greg set up the cameras. We watched him turn them on. We watched him monitor them while we were, you know, doing our thing. We watched him sit at the picnic table and upload the content to his computer. We previewed some of what was shot on his computer so we know it was there. And then he gets home to do more of the post-production. It's wiped. It's gone.
It's that's gone. Amazing.
And so he talked with another producer that worked in another area of high strangeness, and they said they had similar issues. And so if you watch the All Girls episode where we recount this experience that I've just shared in the LBL, you'll notice at one point that the camera just focuses on me and Jamie. You don't see Kristen and Natalie because they were on the other side. So we had two cameras. So the camera that was pointing at me and Jamie was pointing towards base camp, and the camera pointing towards Natalie, and Kristen was pointing towards the wood line. And so what they discovered is every time that had happened, because it happened a couple of times, but every time that happened, it was always the camera that was pointed at the wood line.
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, because I can swear on a stack of Bibles, the cameras were on.
Right.
I watched him download. I watched him upload. We watched it. It was on his machine. I saw it. So I don't know why it's gone.
And then, time and time again, you have a lot of people who talk about that stuff happening, that they shoot the film, they take the pictures, and then when they get back to the house, they're not there.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So like I said, I walked away. Trey Hudson, who was the first speaker here, does a fabulous presentation, and I've seen his presentation a couple of times. And I don't know if he says it every time, but in one of the times that I was watching his presentation, he said that Bigfoot and dogmen and the paranormal, aliens, they're all facets of the same diamond. And I thought that was brilliant, and that has stuck with me all this time, ever since I heard him say that. Yeah. And so when I had these experiences in the LBL, I'm just like, you know what? I think you might be onto something there.
Absolutely.
And so like I said, that's why I walked away with more questions than answers.
Yeah.
And I think it's so appealing. The unknown is so appealing because it's just like it's a mystery that you get to solve, and you do it on your own terms in your own way and with your own friends, and however you want to do it. And it's just so, for those of us that are into it, I think that's part of it. You get away from your everyday, and you're in the beautiful places, and trees generate this positive healing energy, and you're around that, and you just feel good. And then so, even if nothing really paranormal or Bigfoot or whatever happens, it's always this really awesome camping trip, right?
Yes.
So you have such a great time. So I think that's the appeal for me personally, is that I get to get outside of who I am day to day and become the Bigfoot chick, do something else, and just have a lot of fun and be creative and share my talents in a different way.
Yes.
And so it's really fun. But yeah, that was our experience in the LVL.
That's
it was
amazing.
Crazy.
That's amazing.
It is. Well, we want to thank you for sitting down with us.
Tell
My
everybody
pleasure.
how they can find you. And
Sure
all
thing.
that good stuff.
If you are interested in following me, you can find me on Facebook. I have a page called Bigfoot Chick Adventures. You can also find me just about on any social platform if you do the handle Siren, spelled SIREN, and then Bigfoot Chick BFC, so Siren BFC and the number 1. You can find me just about on any platform.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure, it was fun.
That was Melissa Adair.
Yes. Oh, I didn't know we was going to start talking already.
Yeah, we're going to cut this stream off and start another one here in about 15 minutes because we're right at 2 hours.
Yep, we are.
So keep watching, keep looking for the
new stream.
Yeah, the new stream. It'll be up in just a few minutes.
Yep.
We'll be back. I want to thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for watching. And like Jason said, we'll be right back in just a minute or two.